Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling what is, probably the single most famous piece of investment advice out there. Buy low, sell high. We've all heard it, right? But here's the question. Is it actually a path to making money, or is it a dangerous idea from a totally different time? You can just picture it, can't you? This image of the brilliant, shrewd investor. The one who's buying when everyone else is panicking, when there's blood in the streets. And then they sell when everyone's euphoric and buying like crazy. They see the turn before anyone else. It's such a powerful, almost romantic idea. And it sounds so simple, doesn't it? So logical. But what if that simple little phrase is actually one of the biggest, most dangerous traps an investor can fall into today? Okay, let's dive into this. So, to really get why this idea has such a strong hold on us, we've got to go back and see where it came from. Because, you see, for a really long time, this wasn't a myth. Not at all. It was a reality. Something you could literally build a fortune on. For over 50 years, the market moved in these surprisingly regular, almost predictable cycles. It was this constant rhythm, this boom and bust, that gave birth to the whole buy low, sell high strategy. It basically made it seem like financial gospel. Okay, take a look at this. What's so wild here is just how consistent it was. I mean, from 1897 all the way up to 1949, the market went through 10 complete, distinct cycles. And most of them, they only lasted about 4 to 7 years. It was just this constant and pretty violent roller coaster. And back then, in a typical bull market, you'd see stocks just surge. We're talking a jump of anywhere from 50 to 100%. I mean, what a fantastic gain. And it felt totally repeatable, as long as you timed it right. And this is the key, that huge run-up was almost always followed by a really punishing bear market. We're talking declines of 40 to 50%. And just think about the math on that for a second. A 50% drop completely wipes out a 100% gain. It puts you right back where you started, ready for the whole cycle to kick off again. Now, because these cycles were so regular, it really felt like you could spot the top of the market. I mean, look at these signals. You'd see prices hitting historic highs, price-to-earnings ratios going through the roof, and suddenly there'd be this flood of really junky, poor-quality stocks hitting the market. For anyone paying attention, these were like big, flashing red lights screaming, "Get out, sell now." But then, right around the middle of the 20th century, the whole game just changed. Everything that seemed so reliable, so predictable about how the market worked, it just stopped. The rhythm was just gone. Those consistent, short cycles that people had built their entire investment philosophy on, they vanished. So what happened? Well, it was a whole mix of huge global changes. You had the massive post-war economic boom, the rise of incredible new technologies, a more connected global economy. All of it came together and completely reshaped the financial world. It was a whole new era. And this really shows you the shift perfectly. The market went from this predictable roller coaster where you could kind of hop off at the top and then just wait to get back on at the bottom to more of a sustained climb. The old danger signals, they just didn't work anymore. And if you got off waiting for that next low to buy back in, you just got left behind. So what does this actually mean in real terms? What's the tangible cost of holding on to that old myth in this new world? Well, let me tell you, the price of waiting on the sidelines can be absolutely staggering. Let's just take a more recent example, one that a lot of us probably remember, that incredible bull market in the 1990s. For pretty much a whole decade, the market just kept going up and up and up, just relentlessly ignoring all those old warning signs. And here's the kicker. Any investor who was sitting on the sidelines just waiting for one of those classic 50% crashes so they could buy low, well, they missed out on a total gain of almost 400%. And get this, that's before you even count dividends. They were playing by the old rulebook in a completely new game. And this quote just captures that harsh lesson so well. Assuming that old market patterns are just going to repeat themselves over and over, that's a recipe for disaster. The market, well, it has a pretty painful way of reminding you that things have changed. Okay, so if trying to perfectly time the market's highs and lows is a flawed, maybe even an outdated strategy, then what's the alternative? What's a modern investor supposed to do to navigate this new world? this really is the new rule for today. You just can't build a solid investment strategy around sitting on cash, just waiting for a big crash. Those lows you're dreaming of, not only might they take forever to show up, but they might be at levels the market just never sees again. So, what does a better policy actually look like? Well, first, you just give up on the impossible game of trying to forecast the market. You just abandon it. Instead, you shift your strategy to something way more grounded. You adjust how much you have in stocks versus bonds based on value. So that means you stop asking, where is the market headed? And you start asking a different question. Are stocks a good value right now? Are they priced attractively compared to their actual earnings and their long-term potential? Your decision to buy or sell is now about price versus value, not about trying to predict the future. And that really brings us to the final and most important question you've got to ask yourself. Are you trying to be a forecaster, chasing that impossible dream of timing every single move in the market? Because that's speculation. Or are you an investor, someone who's focused on disciplined, value-based decisions no matter how chaotic the market gets? Ultimately, that choice, it's yours.